Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dr. Robert Clay, Executive Director of Student Life and Intercultural Programs, and I want to welcome you to the 2019 S.H.E.R.O Leadership Symposium. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. As we look around the room, we had over 65 folks registered, so folks are slowly but surely coming in. We also partnered with a charter school in Chicago who's bringing a busload of students here, and they're en route, so more seats will be filled. So please encourage others still who want to attend. They can come and enjoy the participation, enjoy the program. This morning, we're excited to have a lot of great speakers and workshops designed to empower you. This year's theme is From One Queen to Another. And when using the discography of Aretha Franklin, a queen who just recently passed away, but had some great songs that spoke to leadership, resilience, empowerment, and opportunities that connect to the theme and the purpose of what S.H.E.R.O is all about. So to get things started today, what we're going to do is have Misha Burton, who is our AmeriCorps Vista, introduce our keynote speaker this morning, Dr. Chandra Gill. But before that, we have a special presentation for you, but none other than Lucy. Lucy, come on up.
When Aretha sings, Aretha Louise Franklin, Queen of Soul, mother, daughter, sister, queen, Aunt Riri. She's leaving us lessons from the music, teaching us life from her living, giving us support through her legacy, Aretha living her truth. See, Aretha is a mighty power, no past tense Aretha, no post-Aretha. Aretha is present, even in this absence, Aretha. Look at the music. Even before you get to the words, Aretha is teaching life lessons with the titles. When Aretha sings, she can be found teaching Nobody Shall Sleep. That's the translation of the title Nesum Dorma. Her lesson that night: make sure that on a moment's notice you're ready to sing somebody else's part, to step into someone else's position, to perform their signature piece and have the world believe that it belongs to you. Have them say about you what Sting said about Aretha. He said, another legendary voice, but then added, one you might not expect. Let me translate that for you. One might not expect this African-American woman, born in Memphis, Tennessee, in a small house on Lucy Avenue, whose parents were divorced at 6, whose mother passed at 10, who had a baby, her first child at 12, and a second by 15, whose paternity was questioned, a sophomore year dropout, plays piano but by ear, her weight fluctuates. She's been divorced twice. She's addicted to food, drugs, sex, and plenty. We do not expect her to sing in Italian an aria from an opera by Puccini. In fact, he held his hands to his mouth in surprise as she began, because he was judging her by the thoughts on what her past would produce. One may not expect. Look at your life. Maybe your story rivals Aretha. One might not expect you to win, might not expect you to excel, might not expect you to design. But when Aretha sings, she wants you to be so at ease, be so prepared, be so into you that you can perform your genius like Aretha before popes and presidents, before potentates and prophets, before preachers and parishioners, before critics and characters, before connoisseurs and constituents. Perform your Saturday night music and your Sunday morning praise. Perform when all is well or when you're lost in a foggy haze. Burn the midnight oil, work hard, hone your craft, know your job. You need to know your competitor's job. Read the manual, know the policy and procedure, study the whole script, learn another language. Be the one from Inglewood. Be the one from the West Side. Be the single mother. Be the abused child. One they may not expect to be the greatest of all times. That's what Aretha teaches when she sings Amazing Grace. Even her drugged voice proclaims a sweet sound. She admits her own wretchedness while understanding the gift of her voice. Or maybe Aretha heard her name in the title of Mary, Don't You Weep. Maybe she heard Aretha, Don't You Weep. Listen to her. Even today, can you hear her singing not only to herself and to Mary, but suggesting that we all listen, sisters, don't weep. Whoever, whatever you're going through, you got to get up. Rise, sister, rise like a spirit in the dark and wipe your weeping eyes while running to the parting water. See, that middle ground might look scary. High water and hell on both sides, legions of trouble in pursuit. But don't stop in the middle of the sea, because Pharaoh's advancing armies, they never stop. They always keep coming. And if you find strength to keep going, everything and everyone following you, cheering for your destruction, will be drowned in the seas of your past to greatness. They're going to be drowned in the pains of your survival, drowned in the triumphs of your depression. You need to believe it. Believe it like Aretha, and when you're living it like Aretha, you need to tell another sister, don't weep, don't moan. Oh, sisters, don't you weep, you must prevail. Aretha, queen of soul, mother, daughter, sister, Aunt Riri, queen. Her voice is a mighty power, no past tense, no post Aretha. Aretha is present even in this absence. Aretha says, you can't rock with everyone. You got to be prepared and brave enough to make the choice to rock steady only with those who are supporting you. Not those who use you, not the jealous, not the jokers, not the jivers. Sometimes you must call a thing exactly what it is and what it ain't. There is no way to rock steady when your mind, your man, or your mama wants you believe that all you are is lost. That's right. See, you want to rock to the left, they rock right. You rock up, he rocks down. You rock at school, he got that corner rock. You rocking for the future, she just rocking for right now. Rock steady, baby. And call this thing exactly what it is. You can't rock with everyone. Rock steady, even if you must rock alone. And every mirror you pass, look at it and say, you're all I need to get by. Look at yourself in the eyes. Stare there for a moment and say, I knew you were waiting for me to become the best I can be. Look at you looking like a rose is still a rose when you've been called every other demeaning, deplorable name. But you be proud knowing you no longer answer to those, because you finally learned some RESPECT for yourself. Thank you. Thank you, Aretha. Thank you, queen of soul, mother, daughter, sister, Aunt Riri, queen, professor. We learned lessons from your music. Your voice is second to none. You are not past tense. This is not post-Aretha era. You are present, even in this absence. Every time you sing, we are always inspired when Aretha sings.
All right. Amen.
Okay, I'm a little short, so. Our opening speaker will be Dr. Chandra Gill. Dr. Chandra Gill is an astute educator and award-winning motivational speaker. Dr. Gill is the founder and CEO of Blackademically Speaking, an educational consulting company dedicated to providing motivational and culturally relevant content, products, and service. She has spoken to the national and international audiences alike. Viewed by many as a premier scholar and thinker, she is regarded as one of America's most prolific orators. As part of the inaugural class for the Gates Millennium Scholars Program, she was Chicago's first African-American public school recipient at the graduate level. Dr. Gill was inducted into Phi Delta Kappa with high honors after receiving her Ph.D. in educational policy studies at the University of Illinois, Urbana Champaign. Please help me introduce Dr. Chandra Gill.
How y'all be? Y'all can do better than that. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Happy Friday. They got me mic'd up like this. I could have used another mic. I'm sure you guys could hear me clearly. For those who may have read the bio, I want to clarify a few things. I'm from the south side of Chicago. The bio don't say all of that. I grew up in Woodlawn community, and I graduated from Lindblom High School in Inglewood community. So I'm embedded in the city of Chicago, and I'm very proud of it. So I'm also going to apologize in advance. I'm not going to be my Ph.D. for a long time. I'm going to really speak to some things today, and I pray that we'll kick this thing off. Is that okay? Last thing I do is I pray before I speak. May I have your permission to pray, say a prayer? Father God, we just thank you for another day. We just thank you for being God. I thank you for every sister and brother that's here. I thank you for your grace and your mercy. And now move me out of the way, your vessel, to speak to these beautiful souls here. We just thank you for all things. A special prayer, Father, for our children and our communities. Oh, how we love thee. Amen, amen, and amen. I'm going to start with a few stories. I'm going to jump right in if you don't mind. I was on travel at the University of Michigan. I had a keynote speech that I had to do. It's interesting now. I want y'all to flow with me for a second. I'm going to get to Aretha. I'm proud to speak to her. She's my Delta sorority sister, so it's good to speak to my soror. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of doing so. But just posit that for a moment. I was at the University of Michigan. And after I wound down just one night having to speak at another university the next day, I happened to catch a little news. Beknownst to Chicago, there was a killing. That particular weekend, just 2 years ago, it was 3 murders specific to 2 middle school children and a toddler. Unfortunately, we've normalized that so much, so you may not think that that was an abnormality, but if you flow with me, I'm going to go and take you somewhere. Now, when I went a little further, I said, wait a minute. 2 middle school age children. So I did a little more research, and I said, wait a minute, why did I do some research? Why? Well, because I had about 1,000 6th to 7th graders that I was dealing with in Inglewood that I was mentoring. So now I'm flowing. I'm trying to see what's going on. I give a call to my mother, and I say, hey, what's going on there? I see that there was some more killings, and they were pretty disastrous. And so just to shorten this a little bit so I can jump into the context of my other story, I found that one of the students that had been shot playing basketball was a young lady I had just left. Her name was Canary. I had just left Henderson Elementary School, not even a week prior to. She was playing basketball in the parking lot of the elementary school, and a drive-by shooting got her. It broke my heart. Why? Because Blackademically Speaking, as I continue to posit this information all through Inglewood community, my company, believing you make the complex simple. I'm here to motivate our children and educate our children. And I believe that we got to be the solution and not just the problem. We can't continue to epistemologically and philosophically talk about it. We got to get to the heart of the matter. And so I had just left Canary. I want y'all to flow with me. And she had just said in my session that she wanted to be a judge. Gone too soon, 12 years old. I'm here to talk today. I hope you'll welcome me into this conversation. Now, posit that. My first assignment coming out of my Ph.D., I already warned you, don't get too deep in my degree. I earned it for sure, but let me just holler at y'all for a second, because that's how I come to you this morning, because sometimes we get lost in our labels and degrees, and we get caught up in our letters and our numbers, and we forget we just on assignment. We just sent to do a work, and we need not be the degrees we get. We need to let our degrees walk us into some doors, and we need to remember where we came from, but I'm going to come back to that, I promise you. So on to my second story, my first assignment, true story. I was a teacher, a professor at the University of Illinois, teaching teachers. Now, this was interesting because I was teaching teachers go-anchors to get their master's degree. Now, my little young self, I'm excited about my teaching assignment. I go and I teach, but I played a little trick. I sat in the back of the classroom. I don't know how y'all roll at Governor State, but if a professor is 10, 15 minutes late, do y'all roll like that here? I need to hear y'all, because that was exciting for me as a student when a professor was late. I sat by the door on purpose because I was waiting for that 16th minute so I can vacate the premises. Okay, I was a shady student. I'm just being honest. But that day, I sat in the back, and I'm thinking, I'm teaching a cohort of students. Y'all work with me, colleagues. They don't recognize that I don't look a lot like them. They've not seen me before. They pile in. It's my first day. And as they're coming in, about 5 minutes into it, they're all greeting each other, ready to kick off their cohort. And they look and they say, "What a professor." I'm sitting in the back. I look at each other. They say, "Man, if she ain't here, we leaving in 7 minutes." I'm sitting in the back, I'm laughing, I'm welcoming this idea and thought. It's so funny to me. 3 minutes later, they like, "She is ridiculous." I'm leaving. I'm sitting in the back. Clearly, they see I'm not in their cohort. Come on, now they gotta know that. But then maybe it's my skin color. Maybe I don't look like the professor kind. So I go on and on and on, and then right before that 15 minutes, because I know some will run out, they say a few things, and they say, look, you grab your girl, I'm leaving. They packing their stuff up, and I'm like, let me jump in now, because now is the time where they just might jut out the door. And they looked around, said a few more things that I won't repeat here, because I couldn't believe teachers would say that about their future professor, but I get it. I've been a student before. So I said, I got up from the back of the room. I walked toward the front of the room. I said, hello, my name is Dr. Chandra Gill. I will be your professor here at the University of Illinois, teaching you and through the lens of urban education. We will be dealing with the social framework and looking at and all kind of philosophies and stratification of how we've gotten to this place with segregation. And we're going to look at what you teach and where they live. And you can't just teach the student. You got to know where they are. And I went into that whole thing, mouths wide open. I said, close your mouths, close your mouths. It's all good. Now let me give you some context, because context is important. Had 23 students, 21 of them were white, teaching black special ed children. Hold that in your head. Oh, I don't think you're holding it. I'm going to give it to you again. 23 students. I'm not racist. Don't leave here talking about Dr. Gill on some racist stuff. 23 children, 23 students, 21 white teachers teaching black children. Posit that it's not from a racialized perspective. I'm coming back to it. I promise you. And I had 2 other black students, and I'm thinking at this point, clearly, this is an issue of race. This little black girl can't be teaching, or maybe it's ageism. I'm giving them a little idea that it could be maybe I just don't look like the teacher. So one student said, you sure you're the professor? Straight. My mom and daddy raised me. They didn't hatch me. So I looked and I said, I don't think I would get up here in front at all. I thought you would hear it in the content that I drove home. I'm beyond sure. Today we call those microaggressions. Mama and daddy called it race white people. Grandma said, you just better always know who you are. Get this, because when you get this, can't nobody take it from you. So they didn't call it microaggressions. They didn't get all philosophical about it. They just knew that if you were African American, like my granddaddy, can I talk to my audience today? Like my granddaddy who grew up in Arkansas, who wanted to be a doctor, but segregation said you can't even go to high school because you were a black man. So before he died, he was excited about the fact that I had access and opportunity that he had not. So when we had these conversations about our grandparents and where we are today, and people are now talking about reparations on a more commercialized standpoint, you have to understand and know it's not because our ancestors didn't want to do it. It was just they just couldn't do it. So they were happy for us. Why did I start there? It's important. In the spirit of Canary, we have normalized our children dying. We've come to a place. So why at the S.H.E.R.O Symposium? Why would you go there, Dr. Gill? Why are you starting there? It's too early in the morning to be talking about that. Where are you going? The question I ask you to pause it, because I got some things to come back to. Turn to your neighbor and say, what do you see? Please turn to your neighbor. Now turn to your other one that you didn't want to say nothing to the first time. And say, what do you see? What do you see today? What do you see? Let me carry on with that situation, if you don't mind. In the essence of time, I began to teach, and I have this thing to my fellow audience where I don't just teach in the classroom. I believe that it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a sane and healthy village to really teach a child. Everybody can't be in the village because everybody ain't healthy, but that's a whole other session. So, and everybody, some of us are crazy. Can we finally say that? Amen, amen. Okay, some of us need help. Some of us don't need to be in the village trying to help nobody, because we got to first help ourselves. I'm going to come back to that too. You're probably thinking I got a lot to come back to, but watch how this flow. I got you. Back to my class, these students, I'm having a great time. We're studying disconscious racism, subconscious racism, unconscious racism. We're looking at drugs and crack, and we going there. We're having a great class. Toward the end, I say, now we got the village voices. We've explored the content. Now it's to get in the voyage. What's the voyage? Let's go to where they live. We ain't going to be teaching them and not know the context of where they come from. So all of a sudden, we are going here. We got the weeks leading up, and they know. Many of the students are excited. Then the day before, y'all ready? Here comes Julie, and she says, does everybody got to go? I didn't know you had options in class, but if you don't really want to go, I can't make you go. I would hope you would want to go. She said, well, where are we going? I said, to my community. Shout out to Chris. Where we from, Chris? Woodlawn all day. And it's interesting. Y'all like that, didn't y'all? Yeah. But anyway, we're going back to Woodlawn. She said, well, I just don't want to go. This is when the plot thickens this morning. I said, well, if you don't mind, if I can ask, or you can wait till afterwards. She said, no, I just don't want to go. So some of her fellow colleagues in a cohort said, they say, well, Dr. Gill been teaching all this stuff, this semester, and why you don't want to go? I don't understand. She said, I just don't feel comfortable. I never told her exactly where I was going. Woodlawn is quite extensive, especially these days. University didn't bought it all up, but that's a whole nother conversation. I don't want y'all, I'm going to exit out of this way. To the point, this is when it gets serious. She said, well, if you must know, I feel like where you're trying to take us is not reasonable. True story, I talk about it in my book. She said, I feel like I'll be going into the zoo to see a bunch of animals. In class, bold. The plot thickens. So I sat, and I stood, and I stood, and I sat. Sometimes framework and praxis just don't work. Sometimes no matter how many degrees you have, it's just no word to find the type of pressure we carry as African Americans. The stress we have no matter how much education you have. First African American female coming out of the city of Chicago with a Bill Gates scholarship is me. 200 graduate students coming out that year, one of them in the city of Chicago. You looking at her. No matter how much education you have, valedictorian of Andrew Carnegie, went to Lindblom, top percent, most popular homecoming queen, no matter how much education you have, University of Illinois, y'all know how I go, I'm looking at a bunch of brilliant faces. No matter how much you have, sometimes it's still not enough. And my mama say, what did we do all that for, only to end up in the same place, if not worse? Why am I starting there and I partner Julie with canary? Canary is not an animal in a zoo. Canary deserved the chance to live. And there's an institutional element that factors into what really killed canary. And we must be clear on that. So when I ask, what do you see? That's the theme of today. What is it that we see? I started Blackademically Speaking because I refuse to just study our children and not have an answer for them. It's time out for the researcher and scholar to come up with the praxis and the epistemology and the philosophies and all the subjugated data that say one thing or another, and we can analyze, assess, and agitate and use all these great words and go to Brown University. Forget you, Brown. It's another day in America where we have to understand that you can be a researcher and a practitioner and a community activist. It's a good day when you can research an issue and find a solution beyond the researched issue. My Ph.D., I studied segregation and desegregation in the Urbana. Can I talk to y'all for a second? Because I'm going somewhere. And it's interesting because many people don't know that Urbana, I went to school, University of Illinois, Champaign, Urbana, they don't know that the first unit district to desegregate itself in the state of Illinois was little bitty old Urbana. In 1967, 13 years after Brown v. Board, Chicago still hadn't even desegregated in completion. So I started Blackademically Speaking because I believe we got to motivate our children. I'm sorry, I believe all children can learn. I side with another one of our sorority sisters, Johnetta B. Cole, the first black female president of Spelman and Bennett College, when she said, I've met a few teachers that can't teach, but I ain't never met a kid that can't learn. I come here today to help you to understand where I'm going today. The question is, from one queen to another, what do you see? And see, I'm going to get so cold with this. I'm going to have a homonym for you. See, because C's and C's ain't always C's and C's. And homonyms are words that sound the same but are spelled differently. So today, I asked you, what do you see? But I tricked you because I'm about to give you some C's in this sea of love that I'm going to give you as you see yourself differently. I want you to see what Aretha went through. My sister so eloquently already laid it out. But can you imagine being pregnant at 12? Can we call that what it really is? At 14, 15 years old, can you imagine what it took for her to become the queen of soul? How did her soul really feel? Can we understand what she gave us and how she left us with so much, but how little she sometimes felt? You can read it in her quotes. You ain't got to believe me. And ain't it the plight, I'm sorry, I'm going to take a little personal privilege, but ain't it the plight of an African-American woman to carry so much, to take on so much? As I've learned in my life now, you don't know how heavy something is until you really put it down. You know, we let toxic people in our lives and we never question the toxicity until we let them go. Or they ask you when you let them go, why you cut me, why you let me go, and you get real cold with it and you say, because you gave me the scissors. I cut you because I knew that my life and my projected goals depended on me letting some stuff go. Sometimes, sisters, you got to take inventory of what's around you, as my sister just said. So what did Julie see? What do you see about yourself? What do we see in each other? What do we see in these communities? I'm reminded of one of my colleagues. He said that he went home. He's a tenure professor at UIC. And he said, Chan, I just don't know where we come from. I just don't know. He said, I just had to come at one of my colleagues, an African-American brother, because he said he don't feel comfortable going home no more. I ain't talking about home, the community. I'm talking about home, like with mama and daddy and grandma. And he had the nerve, may I be real, the gall, can I talk to you, the audacity, the audacious audacity to say that his discomfort at home was because they didn't understand his words. They didn't understand his language. He needed a new crowd. Brother, do you know who made you possible? Do you know how you even got to what you got? Y'all know some people who you can't speak unless you call them doctor. Y'all know some people that they don't even want to have a conversation with you unless you got 2 commas in your salary. I'm going to let that hold over your head for a minute. What do we see? How do we get our teachers, our leaders, our politicians, our professionals to see differently in the spirit of S.H.E.R.O Symposium? How do we positively alter how our children see themselves? How do we deal with this country and this world where we're allowing babies to live in cages and the messaging that sends to children? We got to ask some different questions. So what do you see, my sisters? And who you are and what you were created to be? What is it that is holding you back? As my beloved soror queen, Aretha, takes us on this journey for the last few moments. I got some points for you. It would be remiss of me to not give you some stuff in professor style, a couple points, comments, something to take home with you, meditate on, pray. I don't want to cheat you. I got something for you. What do you see? Well, I come by to tell you that your first C in this sea of healing, because I believe it's time for us to heal. I have a saying that we left slavery, but slavery ain't all the way left us. We left the plantation, but that plantation is still in us. You don't believe me? I just slid my first C into your culture. Slid it in, you missed it. Our culture, we have to change our culture. So what happens when slavery still lives in you? You end up surviving slavery, but you don't heal from it. Oh, I messed you up. You can come away from a place, but you don't heal from it. You don't believe me? All right, well, I'm going to go there for you. Look at how we eat. I'm probably going to have to leave after point 1. Y'all don't nobody talk about my food. Doc, listen, I'm hungry. But can I talk to my sisters today? We're dying too early. When we talk about healing and what do you see, we got to do better by ourselves. We got to change the culture. Soror Aretha Franklin said, I think the hardest thing is losing weight. That's the hardest thing more than anything else. So we can list the songs, but I'm going to borrow some quotes from Aretha because she said, I struggle with my weight. How many of us struggle with our weight? How many of us carry the weight of other people on us and can't lose the weight off ourselves? Can I talk to my sisters today? We still friends? We still cool? We good? Because I know when I get between that and chicken and cheese and chocolate, I'm done. Yes, another seed, some seeds. Y'all missed it? Okay, anyway, we're going to roll this thing. It's something about when we talk about food and what it's doing to us, but there's a reason why the Snickers, the Twix, the Kit Kat, the Reese's, and all that is sitting by the register as you check out. You went in there for some socks and came out with a Kit Kat and a Snickers. You went in there for some light bulbs and came out with a piece of chocolate cake. Have you noticed how stores ain't stores no more? Have you noticed how gas stations ain't gas stations no more? Okay, so can I give you a history lesson? It used to be you go get gas and that was it. They threw a little water, then they threw a little soda, then they threw some candy bars. Now they call them convenience smarts. You go get gas, you buy socks, you buy a microwave pizza, and you leave with a Twix and a pizza to go. Just for gas. Why am I saying that? Because remember, I told you I was coming back. It was an institution that actually killed Canary, an institution of oppression that subjugated a group of people to a certain space and place and said, y'all figure it out in the lens of poverty, and then blamed them for being who they are and called it black on black crime and never looked at Asian and Asian crime and white crime. And they didn't call that what it was because it was something about making black people always feel like they were inferior. And I'm going to go ahead and borrow from Minister Farrakhan when he said, let me just tell y'all this. He said, listen, you got white people in America thinking they're superior. You got black people in America thinking that they're inferior. That makes both people sick. Ain't nobody superior or inferior. Last I checked, we all human. So it was a system that also killed Canary, and it's that same system that's killing you. Can I talk to my sisters? And so once you begin to see the systems, you'll get to see how they got you killing yourself. You don't believe me? Okay, check it out. Right now, 100 million people in America are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. Can I talk culture? Not just black culture, American culture. 100 million people. 90% don't even know. Because once you know, you can do something about it. What is so funny about all of this, not in a humorous way, is that these are preventable, can I talk? Conditions. It doesn't mean that you can always win. Some things are really running in your family. But can I talk to my people today about the culture of what Aretha said in losing weight and understanding the systems that are predicated? Can I talk to you about my father that passed away at just 59 years old of a heart attack? Can I give you a history lesson? His brother, triple bypass, mother, my grandmother, quadruple bypass, 3 siblings preceded him in death. All of them had heart problems. My father didn't live to be 60. So what's my mission? To take care of my what? We got to change the culture. Some of us in the church will call it generational curses. Some of us got to get it together. I'm not here. Please don't come into me later and say, well, Doc, you know, I felt you judged me. I want you to live. It's time to live. It's time to stop doing for others what we ain't what? We can't just know it. We got to do it. What is it that about us that we will march when they kill us with gunshots, but we won't march ourselves to the gym room? We have to march ourselves to our own freedom. I'm not minimizing this, but we are not only fighting for our brothers and sisters to get out of prison, we're fighting for our minds to get out of them as well. This is a culture that only we in this room can change. We got to change it. Obesity statistics in America are not just devastating to us as a people, but our children are more obese than ever before. Why? They no longer call sugar food, they call it poison. If you got white sugar in your kitchen, they got brown. They got white flour, you can try a different one. Start little by little. I know I just spoke not too long ago at the NAACP state conference, and they were bringing a dessert as I got up. And I began to talk about how we eat. When I'm in the church, you know that's the worst place to talk about how you eat, because they wait on their ham hock dinner after you preach. She will not come in my ham hocks. So I got a whole sermon. Don't get mad at me, please. It ain't blasphemous, but Chris, I said, what if Jesus was overweight? They messed me up. But could he have done the work? We got to get healthy, was the indirect question. We got to be serious about our health. And dare I say, give you a solution in this C before I go to the next one, leaving Aretha when she said, I struggle with my weight. This is how easy it is if you decide to just make up your mind. They now recommend that all you need is 150 minutes of exercise a week. Just 150 minutes. Let me break that down for y'all. If you just did Monday through Friday, 30 minutes, that's just Blackish on record. That's just DVRing one of your favorite shows. DVR, by the time Blackish in, you come back, take a shower, watch it. Can I break it down? And then they say, if you want to go vigorously and do it faster, do 75 minutes. This 15 minutes a day of strong, I hope I'm blessing somebody. Why can I say this? I used to be a size 20. I was there. I've been vegan 15 years now. And the only reason why I keep weight on me is because I eat a lot of beans and rice. Because my family, they'll get you. Girl, you on some drugs or something? What's wrong with you? In our culture, you can't lose hips. Because we big boned it. We thick. So when I got down to a 4, they knew I was smoking. something going on with champs. And then I said, okay, I fell to the pressure. Beans it was, every day. Then I had to catch myself as I got up to the 8. I'm like, hold on, I'm feeling a little something. But my sisters, I'm here to tell you in the spirit of S.H.E.R.O, I'm not telling you to get to a certain size. I'm telling you to look at the scale. I'm telling you to take care of yourself. Change the culture. When I became vegan, my grandma was mad because I couldn't eat up potato salad no more. She didn't know I was too. She thought it was personal to her. It wasn't nothing nice at Thanksgiving. Y'all can't even imagine. They brought barley for me. As they ate turkey, dressing, macaroni, and y'all know how we do. But what was so dynamic about it was I began to, as I say in my first book, break chains. I have cousins that are vegetarian and vegan because I started a different culture in my family. They call me now and say, I just watched the documentary. I was vegan way before these documentaries. My sisters, all I want you to do, number one, is change the culture. I talk about it on Facebook. If you ever want to see any of my videos, I got a ton of videos that I put out there for people to watch. Dr. Chandra Gill, you can see them. Number two, I need everybody in here, including my brothers, to have some confidence. When I'm teaching children, I'm going to show you what I do to children. When I say I am, you say great. I am. 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 I am. I am. When I say you are, you say even greater. You are. You are. Y'all ain't feeling me this morning. You are.
Even greater.
You are.
Even greater.
You are.
Even greater.
You are.
Even greater.
When I say I am, you say
Great.
I am.
Great.
I am.
Great.
You are.
Greater.
Together we are the absolute greatest. Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
Y'all better say it like you feel it. Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
I am.
Great.
They like, wait, hold on. Oh, no, no. I didn't expect all this energy at 10. I thought it was going to be just one of them speakers that just, hello, today, and yeah, goodbye. I am. Great. I am. Great. I am. Great. You are. Great. You are. Great. You are. Great. Together we are.
The greatest.
Oh, my. Lord, come on, shower down on us, God. Together we are the absolute
greatest.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all sure? Because I don't want no more mistakes. I'm sorry I brought energy. Y'all mad at me? Because I don't want y'all starting this conference dragging. I am.
Great.
I am.
Great.
You are.
Even greater.
You are.
Even greater.
Y'all messed up again on the line. So I'm going to give y'all some time at y'all table to make sure everybody okay. Just check on everybody. Make sure they okay. Remind them of what the saying is. No, do this for real. I am, girl, look, I am great. You are even greater.
Together we are great.
Don't need no more mistakes. They cover. They like, girl, please, we got it. I am.
Great.
I am.
Great.
I am.
Great.
Even greater.
Even greater.
Even greater.
Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
Life is about choices and decisions. Life is about choices and
Decisions.
choices and
Decisions.
choices and
Decisions.
When one of them give an answer, right? I say, give me 5 claps, and they do this. 5 claps. 5 claps. 3 claps. Ain't no only other stuff. 5 claps. 5 claps. 3 claps. 3 claps. I am.
Great. Ready, baby. Ready.
I am.
Great.
You are.
Even greater.
You are.
Even greater.
Even greater.
Together we are.
Absolute
Greatest.
Together we are.
Absolute greatest.
I am.
Great.
You are.
great.
Even greater. Even greater.
Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
Together we are.
The absolute greatest.
It's about choices and
Decisions.
life is about choices and.
Decisions.
That's 5 claps. 5 claps. 3 claps. That's what I do with 6th graders. By the time I'm done, they all in the highway. I'm great. It's like, what did you do with my kids? Came giving them confidence. Our kids sometimes die from a lack of confidence. I'm on overdrive, as you can tell by the time I enter these schools in Inglewood. I refuse to talk down to them. I teach them words like pedagogy. And they go through the hallways. They mess it up a little bit. But when I come back in their schools, they say, Dr. Gill, I was pedagogy yesterday. No, but I can get with it, though. because they're trying. I don't dumb down my classrooms. I believe as a professor that I am not to teach according to the social construct. In fact, my philosophy is I instruct beyond the social construct. The social construct of race, I instruct beyond that, because I believe that all teachers teach all children. I don't like it when white teachers don't like to teach black children. I don't like it when black teachers don't want to teach white children, because a good teacher teaches everybody. So why do we have to give our children confidence? Because they come in with their head held down. And sometimes it's just a matter of you telling somebody that they're great. Can I talk to for the last 15 minutes, my audience about the etymology of education, where it came from in a Latin form, which simply means to bring out. Why is that so amazing? Because the assumption is if I'm bringing some out of you, you already got it. Absolutely. Oh, y'all missed that. Y'all gonna be real. If I gotta bring it out, that means it's already there. So America is wrong in just giving you what you're supposed to have without bringing it back. Regurgitation can be the thief of greatness. Ooh. It can be the thief of positive purpose. Because if all I got to do is remember it and regurgitate it for a test, I have totally neglected, negated, and nullified that of what I have been sent to do. So if I got all students in my room, in case you can't tell, I'm trying to notice every student. What is it that you were born to do, created to do? What did I see in you? Because I got to bring it out. The best teacher can bring out the greatness in every student. All children can learn, even if they learn differently. So we got to instill confidence. And Ayanna Van Zandt says, comparison is an act of violence against the self. Why are we not confident? Glad you asked. Because we keep comparing ourselves to everybody. We covet what everybody else got. And you know what really gave birth to this? Social media, the toilet of the internet. Somebody said, I didn't make that up, I just thought it was very nice. It's the toilet of the internet. It's a place where you can go and do a lot of great things. I post my videos and I try to be positive. But you better believe, if you stay on that timeline too long, no matter how amazing your friends are, they're going to say something that you never thought they could think of. Because that's what is in us. But how, what do you see? See culture, now confidence. I need all my participants today to have confidence. To know you were sent to do a great work. Get off social media looking at what everybody else got, because the truth is they lying anyways. Oh, now she changed this. I'm driving this. She rented it. Got you mad. You sitting back like, why she get that? Why she got a man and I ain't? She ain't got one. She got a pair of pants. My mama said you can either have a man or a pair of pants.
Ooh, wow.
Ready to leave? She called it respect. But I'm asking you to first respect yourself. No judgment on it. I'm not going to get into this assessment of how you should be, what you should do. You know what respect is. So Aretha called it R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Let's watch how we talk to each other. Let's watch how we handle ourselves, how we carry ourselves. Before I move to my third C and begin to wrap up, one of my 6th grade classes at a school I won't name, the young lady said, "You smile too much." 12. What you mad at?